Namaste and welcome back once again to another series from Enable by Shibi Anand. I am Shibi Anand and I would be your host for today. Today's episode is very special in more than one way. This episode is dedicated to all the educators out there, young and old, shy and bold, loving and giving. And I dedicate this to all my gurus who have shaped me into the individual that I am. And I have someone very special with me today. Her titles don't define her, but for her love for her children and education do. Currently working as Director and Research and Innovation at Silver Hill School, Kozhikode, she's just the right person to talk to us. I present to you Miss Aditi Chatterjee. Welcome, Aditi, ma'am.
Thank you, Shibi, and good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah. Aditi, ma'am, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
All right, like my journey as a teacher or an educator or somebody who wants to interact with students and children, because even today when I go to school, the only people who really take my attention are my students, and I try to make everything work so that it benefits my students. So if the teachers are pressed to work hard, it's also because I only think about every child on the receiving side of the academic program as somebody whose life and is valued and matters. So I started my journey not thinking I would ever become somebody with the school systems, but it just happened. And once it happened, there was no stopping, there was no looking back. I started teaching as a teacher of kindergarten. And when I was teaching, I didn't even know how to do the cursive on the board because I never been taught to become an educator. So I used to go to the next teacher's room and then go and see how she wrote the C on the cursive and come back and ask her. And then I would come and do that with my class. But in that experimentation, in those joyful moments of these little preschoolers, I think my journey began. And then I've just been going forward. I have visited many places. I worked in schools in India and abroad. And everywhere, one connect remained the same is the people we want to teach or the people who need to learn are students. They don't change. They are still the same enthusiastic, careless sometimes, intriguing sometimes, friendly, joyful, over demanding at moments. But that's how life has been. And that's where I am today in Kerala after having journeyed across the country, beyond the country, and back again in Kerala.
That was an incredible journey. And, when I was listening to you in the earlier part of your career, this is quite so obvious that though not trained for the vocation of being an educator, how easily and how, in a way you have molded yourself that you could benefit the whole educational fraternity. So talking about that, I think we talk a lot about holistic learning these days. That term is quite relevant and everybody uses it quite often these days. According to you, what do you think are the integral components of holistic learning?
Okay, Shibi, you, I think, touched a very, very important chord in as far as education is concerned. And this is a word that's doing the rounds for quite some time. You look at a school and the school says, our vision is to provide holistic learning or to teachers. So the thing is that when we talk about holistic learning, we have to understand that learning is to make the child a whole, complete human being when the child leaves the portals of the school. And what till now was mainly being focused in school systems was the academic part of it. And the growth of the child as an individual who moves into the world outside, many areas were neglected or not looked into. And that is where we have to understand that when we talk about holistic learning, we need to look into arenas or areas which are beyond the academic areas that are dealt with mainly in school systems. So we have the curriculum of the school that talks mainly about the syllabus, the lesson plan, the board exams, the MCQs, what not and whatever. But that is not enough as far as a holistic learning for the child is needed. And also what the child would become when the child leaves the school is what we need to look into as educators when we are in the school system. So the
Right.
engagement of the child should not only come from the academic portion, or it should not be as if the child would only be, encouraged and motivated to work towards getting marks. The child needs to look beyond and see which are the other areas. Is the child getting responsible as a self? Is the child getting self-motivated? Is the student, wanting to developing skills as the student learns? These are the areas we look into when we talk about a complete learner in the picture. Yeah.
Right, right. Very true. Because I think as educators, we always believe in this concept of holistic learning. But somewhere down the line, when we have portions to complete and, children need to be trained for these examinations, that focus shifts from that holistic learning to only one part or one side of the learning. But as you suggest, I probably think that we are talking about some intangibles of education. So why do you think that we need these
Wow.
intangibles of education?
Wow, she'd be great. So when you talk about intangible, and I had heard the word for the first time, I, being also having had my financial management degree with me, intangibles was a word that cropped up in the balance sheet of the company, and it
Right.
came under assets. So
Uh-huh.
assets, as we all understand, are something that we connect with some value, anything that is of value and going forward is going to give me a return in monetary terms becomes an asset. As far as the tangible assets, tangible, something that we can touch.
Right.
Intangible then immediately becomes something that we cannot touch. Now, when we talked about intangible assets in a balance sheet, what we understood was that these were the things that grew with the company and which could not be seen on the balance sheet evidently, but these made the company. So when I talk about it, I'll just give you a couple of examples and it'll be like it'll hit you straight. When we talk about an aircraft taking you or on time, the first name that comes to mind is nothing but Indigo. Even if it is today the clean, lean aircraft, which hardly gives you any frills as far as flying is concerned, you know for one thing you're assured is you will reach your destination on time or before time. So now Indigo, all other aircrafts give you the same services and the same facilities. How come we go for Indigo? Because so that is an intangible part of it that has grown. That's a goodwill that has come out of it, or that's a service that it delivered over the years. Same
Right.
with running shoes. When I was looking at the Olympics this time, most of the athletic shoes, t-shirts, sports gear came from Nike. So now when you
Right.
talk about sports equipment, you immediately would think about it as, okay, Nike would give me that. So even if I have to pay more than I would pay for something that was of equal value, I would go for Nike because it gives something that is intangible, but it offers me an assurance that that money cannot buy. So
Right.
those are the things that is intangible, and that's so important. So when we talk about an intangible in the education system, what do you think it could be? It would be every learning that happens all through the day, from the minute the child enters the
Steps
school
into the school.
to the time the child is ready to leave the school. And it happens not in the confines of the classroom and the teacher is sitting, it happens in the water bell, when the water bell rings, in the
Right.
lunch break, and the playground, on the canteen. What are the conversations going on? How are the students interacting? Are they pushing or pulling? Are they standing by to let the teacher go by? Are they helping a child who fell down in the playground? These were not taught in the physics lesson of class 9. These were not taught to that KG student who was learning how to do cursive writing. These were taught as the students interacted, as the teacher took the class, as a senior would have done it. So these are the intangibles of a school system that grow into a child as the child is in the school, sees things happen. The body language of a teacher when she enters the school, the way she looks at us, at the students, those were not part of the syllabus or the lesson plan that she had prepared when she came to class. But those were the values that she is actually transmitting to the students. So intangible is something that is not physical. You cannot touch it, you cannot hold it, but you can feel it, and it adds immense value to an individual. So I understand that in the academic scenario, just like the tangible, the academics, the scholastic learning is important, equally and more important would be the intangible part of learning.
Right. How beautifully you have put across that concept of intangibles of education, because I am sure that when a parent or a child or a teacher in general looks upon education, they only see learning happening inside the classroom. Okay, not many of us pay attention to the learning that happens every moment, like right when the child enters the school till the time the child leaves the school. What are the different learnings and different experiences that the child is going through? Are we paying attention to those intangibles of education? I think I'm in love with that word, intangible of education. And I like the way you connected it with your finance and company and how you brought it to, to that scenario of education. Now you must we've all seen the education drastically changing after the pandemic, and we have all been now confined to our own homes. So this home is one complete classroom, and all my students come across from different homes and attend my classes. How do you think these intangibles are relevant in an online scenario?
Okay. Now, Shibi, when I was talking about the skills that the child is supposed to, have when the child leaves the world, I came across a very interesting quote the other day, and it said that in school, you are tested after you have been taught a lesson. Whereas in life, you are first tested and then you learn a lesson. Aren't they just so beautiful? You know, in school, you are tested after you have been taught the lesson.
Absolutely.
Whereas life first tests you, and going forward, you learn a lesson out of life. And this is said by somebody called Tim Baudet. So I should, of course, acknowledge this man, but I found it so extremely relevant and so clear about what so when we look at life, and as we said, we're preparing the child holistically to face the challenges of life, we understand that in the school system, the child comes prepared or is being helped with it by a lot of people. There are parents, there are teachers who are looking after his food, her food, the books she carries. So the child really does not have a lot of responsibilities. Going forward, when we go into the unknown world, suddenly the same student has to look into finances, how to manage with the limited amount of money that she gets,
Right.
How to plan her day so that she is able to find time to eat her food, go to work, come back, clean the room that she lives in, how to negotiate with a roommate who is not of the same wavelength that she is. In family, in homes.
Such relevant points you're bringing across, Aditi ma'am, such relevant points.
So
yes.
Those are the areas which were not taught in the classroom. Those were the things that were somehow missed when we were trying to complete our portions, trying to work on question papers, and these things got forgotten. Now, what happens then? How can we include them in our curriculum in a way that the child is able to be prepared to face the world? That's when, working in groups becomes important. In the playground, most of these intangibles of learning happen in the playground.
In the playground, yes.
You learn to face failures. You learn to, rejoice when a team wins, even if it is not yours. You learn to help the other who is not as fortunate as you are. So these are the small things that happen as you go forward. So in classrooms, when we have, group work, when we remember to, acknowledge the other who might not be the best in the class, and the teacher does it, the other student looking across picks it up and says, okay, these are the areas which were so, beautiful, or which were so inclusive when the classroom was conducted. Now, this cannot only happen in online or cannot only happen in offline. What very easily happened in offline is a lot of things the children saw and felt as a group. So in a classroom, when the teacher enters the class, the automatic behavior was to stand up. Many of the little ones don't even ask you. They just know when a senior, an elder walks in, we're supposed to stand
automatically up. Stand up.
Yes, this is just a behavior that is learned over the years. One of the best times to, teach the intangible is the school assembly, the morning assembly. So these were the areas which were very easily accessible during the offline classes. Coming to online, we understand that one person becomes very important as far as transmitting these intangibles is concerned, none other than the teacher who's across. Now, every student does not see the other student as much as he or she sees the teacher across. So it becomes, more responsibility on the teacher as to how does she communicate the intangibles during an online class. So the teacher needs to know that she has to be on time. She needs to follow etiquette. She needs to do things which every observing student will pick up from her behavior. It no longer, so these are the traits, these are the behavior patterns that is reflected through the everyday class of a teacher. Does she come on time? Is she dressed for the class? Does she ensure that she is paying equal attention to every student? That is so much important because many a times what happens is the teacher usually tries to pick on the students who are more active or who know the answers. So when the teacher includes all the students, teacher prepares her class to include students of all kinds of learning, differentiated learning. That's where in a simple way, unsaid, unwritten, she's communicating to the students that look, here I take time to care. I take time to prepare for the class, even though I can just be shabbily dressed. I need not have structured my class. I need not have planned because over online, there is very little people, very little. I can always say the network issue or something and get away. So these are the small, subtle things that the teacher does across the day, across the class that actually could be imbibed by the student who is attending the class. So I would say that online or offline, intangibles can be transmitted and communicated at any point in time. And that's why it becomes very important that teachers become now role models. Just like parents are very important role models in the home system. So we also need to understand that intangible does not happen in the school only. It happens at home also. Yes. So parents also who are listening to this need to know that every behavior of theirs is being noted by by the child, who will then go and use it, may not know how to use it rightly, but will do it. So I one of my very favorite cartoon strips that I read every day is Dennis the Menace. And that is one place you will see how beautifully the intangibles of parenting and growing up are picked up by that little child, It's an extremely intelligent way of, showing us that, okay, the children may not talk a lot, but they are picking up a lot of vibes. And we need to be very careful as to what we want the child to know, learn, or understand. So that's where the teacher also is so important when she's talking about or taking the class. Yeah.
So I think you've very beautifully put across how as educators, we sometimes teach these intangibles to our children without making it very explicit that we are teaching them the skills. I think most of the skills that the children learn from their teachers are those silent, skills that we are not explicitly teaching them. So probably, as they say, the age-old saying goes, values are caught and not taught. So I think that's a perfect example over here also. Would you also share some examples from your real life where you think these qualities, these intangibles have made an impact?
Okay, before I do that, I just wanted to tell you another small thing that I thought we could all keep in mind is, just like you said very correctly, that the intangibles are actually transmitted unintentionally many times. It's informal, it's unintentional also. So even if I don't want the child to pick up certain behavior patterns, the child tends to pick up. So I would just want you to picturize an iceberg, and what is always visible to the outsider of the iceberg is a very little bit tip. A deep part of it, a chunk of the iceberg is below the sea. So to give it that stability, because of which the iceberg floats or whatever, or it's there at that height. So what happens for most of our students, what they show us is just the tip of the reality of that student. So there will be stress, there will be fear, there'll be anxiety, there'll be, like so many other emotions that are, struggling to surface for that student. But what, as educators, as parents, we are actually all the time asking is, what marks did you get? How did you score in the class? Were you very good? And so we are looking at, the places or the areas, tip of the iceberg, wherein most of it is performance related, most of it is measurable, most of it is, only looking at one segment of that full
Aspect.
student. Yes. The
Yes.
rest of it, the hidden area of the student, which is so important, the anxiety, the stress, the fear, the need to be associated with others, the need to be a part of a team, are so easily neglected, I would say,
Yeah,
or
and we are
overlooked.
missing all of these so much right
Absolutely
now in these online teaching and learning. That's something
true.
that we are all missing out on. And this anxiety levels are so high, not just for the learners, but for the teachers as well.
We are now struggling with technology. So student is beyond that. Okay, you can be wherever you are. So long as I've been able to get across the lesson at the end of the day, my work as a teacher for the day is over. And there should not have been a glitch. There should not have been a network issue. So different other areas are occupying our mind space as compared to the student. So usually when we are in the class and we look at a student, we only should not associate the student with whether the student answered, whether the student was good enough, whether the student completed the homework. Many a times we need to address and see, okay, today the child is not as active in the class. Is there something that's troubling him or her that could be important for the child? Might not be important for us. So that those are the things that as educators, those are the intangibles that we need to look out for, I would say, at many times, because these will not, the child will not come and tell you, I'm sad today, or I lost my pet today, or but we need to see those in those eyes, that need for attention, the need for compassion, the need for being included in the class. So that is where, as teachers, so when I going forward, when I see my own experiences, when I see my classrooms, I realize that every time that anything happened was not because of how well the teacher taught, but how the teacher came across to me. I still remember my physics teacher of 8th standard, not because the way she taught physics, Mrs. Satyanarayan, but because the way she came and she, motivated us. She got us to get interested in the subject. And I still try to wear my watch. Today, I don't wear a watch anymore because I don't need to. I used to wear the watch exactly like Missy wore the watch, because that for me was being somebody who was
I think,
smart.
Aditi ma'am, there are many, many teachers out there who are actually a reflection of their gurus. You know, they unknowingly they carry the same style, the same demeanor, some good qualities that they have seen in their role models. And I feel that it is so important. The teacher-student bond is so important and pious. A child would never learn from a teacher he doesn't like. When I say he doesn't like it's not because the teacher is scolding him because he did something wrong, but a teacher who is not able to connect to a child emotionally,
Absolutely.
who's
True,
just
true.
coming
So
and
true.
teaching computer science or mathematics or language and just finishing off the portion and going, and not looking at these faces of these 30-35 individuals who are sitting in our classrooms. Now the challenges are all the more because we only see those icons on the screen and the videos are not there, and they all leave the place by very quickly saying that we're facing a network issue. So I understand those challenges, but I think as teachers we have tremendous responsibility in connecting to our children and knowing that our role goes beyond classrooms, our role goes beyond academics. I'm sure that you have many students who wish you so many, I think from across the world, your phone would be flooded with happy Teachers Day wishes. I am a very young educator, but I do have students. But way back when I started my career, I used to wonder, would I also be one day getting these messages from my students? Would they be remembering me on this day? And I would proudly say that there are children across the globe who wishes us more than our birthdays on Teachers' Day, and they wish us a very happy Teachers. And it's a proud moment because we realize that we were able to connect to them beyond our books, beyond our classrooms, beyond our academics. So that was just so beautifully put across. Teachers' Day is around the corner. And I am so lucky to have an excellent educator, and more than that, a humble, a great human being with me. So I just want you to give a Teachers' Day wishes to all the educators across the globe, as we call it, Vasudevaya Kutumbakam. So can you give a Teachers' Day message to all our viewers?
Okay. Thank you, Shibi, so much. It was just very interesting chatting with you. I think I could go on for a much longer time with so much to share.
Right.
But when I was thinking about what is the message that I could, think for teachers, people, who are all, we are all in the same boat. We're all trying to connect with lives and touch lives. I realized that there's only one language that can go across all borders, all barriers, all classes, whether it's first standard or 12th standard, any language for the matter, any board, CBSE, ICSE, is the language of love. And if as a teacher, I have understood that language of love, I can connect with my students. And when I was writing love, what cropped in my mind is, why can't I put L for listen? Can I be there to listen to my students? O for opening my hearts to each one of them. V for valuing them as a unique individual and giving each one of them equal importance in my life. So I should not segregate my student because of certain prejudices that I have in my mind from earlier. And finally, E, empathize. I think the biggest word that stays for intangible education is to empathize.
Yes.
So love for me would be listen, open, value, and empathize. If I could do that as an educator, I think we've done our work and we'll be able to affect, influence, and touch as many lives as God possibly wants us to.
Right. Thank you so much. I think we would remember the term love as you mentioned it in our lives, because as an educator, I think that's the most important component, because we are touching so many lives. So many students see as role models, and may the God Almighty strengthen all of us to be a fabulous, a wonderful educator who could connect to our children. So you have been an excellent educator who illuminate a soul with its light, and gratitude to you to spending your time and energy. It has been an absolute honor to get to learn so many things from you. Thank you for inspiring me and my fellow educators. Thank you for being with me here today and sharing from your heart. I think